We're joined today by Dr. David Alley, Director, Business Development of Memphasys Limited. Doctor, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, David.
Firstly, can you talk to your experiences in the medical device market or the medical pharmaceutical field?
Okay, so my experiences go back probably 3-4 decades, and I've worked across drug discovery, clinical research, pathology, medical affairs, and basically the business end of getting drugs registered in countries. And I've done a number of product launches during my career, a number of product launches during my career, which have brought in my understanding and skills that I've developed over the years.
So talking to the skills, what are the skills or the key attributes that you bring to Memphasys that you think are the reason you're here?
I think my direction, David, I think it's knowing where to go and what to do at the right time. And having launched a lot of products, being able to take them and being able to find the aspects of those products that will really help our clients or our customers and be able to push the buttons. But I think it's a bit more intrinsically interesting than that. It's actually knowing your customers and knowing your clients and knowing where the gaps are in the market. I think that if you can find a product or series of products that provide or fill a gap in the market or a need in the market, then you're definitely on a winner. And that, to me, was one of the reasons why I was attracted to Memphasys, because of the Felix device initially. And in saying that, the entire pipeline, I think, is extremely attractive in terms of providing a need, which is critical to the market and a number of customers in IVF.
Expanding on that a little further, that attraction to Memphasys, from an outsider looking in, what were the key attributes you're looking for, and what was the main attraction?
Innovation. I think that everything that Memphasys is offering is innovative, and back from the days in my PhD, I was a person that was interested in having or producing something, not for the sake of science itself, but producing something that could help the community, patients, and contribute to the overall body of knowledge. And I think that what Memphasys has done is it's taken, especially with the Felix device, is it's taken aspects of science and it's applied those to a technology that is extremely innovative. And and certainly from what I can see in the marketplace, there are clearly no real competitors to this in the marketplace. And having worked in pharmaceuticals, David, across trying to sell products where there are Me Too products in the marketplace or similar products, it's really, really difficult. And I think with the Felix device is that once it gets out there, and having said that, we're extremely close to actually doing that now, it is just going to go gangbusters. And that's my interest is being part of something that is just going to explode. And I'm really, really enthusiastic about that.
Been under the desk a few months now. Has the attraction been enhanced? Are you excited by what you're now seeing that you may not have noticed, or excited about the things you are seeing that you thought were there?
Yeah, I have to say that I'm not a stranger to working in what I would call a startup type situation. I've done my time, and I think that in previous startups or small companies that I've worked in, it's kind of a baptism by fire. So you come in, you got to roll your sleeves up, and you got to get the job done, and that is really engaging to do. And to be honest, there are some things that you could say, okay, a big pharma or a big device company would have an engine or a machine to do this, but at the same time you can still get it done. And one thing that I've had experience in, David, is working with reduced budgets. I ran clinical trials in pharma for close on to 12 years. And you can imagine the size of the budgets they have to run these studies. We're talking millions of dollars. And then I went to another company which had $500,000 to run a clinical trial. And I was like, oh my God, how does this happen? How do we do this? but you'd be surprised what you can do and what you can achieve. It's not about how much money you've got. It's about working smarter and more effectively. And I think that at Memphasys, every time I look around, I see this constant looking at what we've got and what we don't want, what we don't need. And I think it's picking exactly what we do need, which is what Alison is doing to actually, move us through. And, I could suggest lots of things that we need, having come from big companies, but then you need to really filter through that. And it's a bit like, how much do you need in life? Do you need to surround yourself with 50 Lamborghinis? No, you don't. You just need a Hyundai that you can get around in, really. So I think that until you achieve the start to finish goal. So I think that that approach is good, and I think it's very sobering, and I think that we will achieve our end doing it this way.
You're clearly a goals-orientated person or an outcomes-orientated person. What's the goal?
My goal is to get as many Felix devices into as many countries as I possibly can. And, we've started on that role now, looking at Japan. And, I can see that the market there is obviously very keen. And every country that has looked at the device, can obviously see a huge amount of benefit. When you think about the efficiencies that it offers, and having come, from a laboratory situation myself years and years ago, process is the most time-consuming thing. So you've got process and you've got harmonization of technique, and I think that what the Felix device offers to these laboratories is minimal time, and time is money, as we all know. And the other thing is harmonized, so that that each operator will be doing exactly the same thing. And especially in a laboratory setting, that's critical in science to get things done, in the correct manner. And so my goal is to, make sure that device reaches as many ART laboratories as possible. And I think that once people actually try it, see it, look at it, there'll be more and more of a surge to move into this device as people see the efficiencies. They see their competitors using these efficiencies. We now, for example, don't need 2 FTEs to in the laboratory to run this process. We can take that technical FTE and maybe get another embryologist, on board to help, and sort of change things around and mix things up. So I think there's lots of benefits to be had, and my goal is to basically help those clients.
Lastly, the future of the company, what excites you when you see what's being done? You see the quality of the team, you see the outputs already being achieved, and now the team being enhanced with both yourself and Hassan joining the team. How excited are you for the future?
I think the three of us now, myself, Alison, Hassan, will be a force to be dealt with. And, we're all extremely energized. And I see us really pushing forward. There's a pipeline in the company, and I think there's some really good things to offer. And what I like about Alison's style too is that she, like me, doesn't necessarily want to be pigeonholed with one product. And I think that's extremely important for success. I've seen companies fail, and I've seen companies do well with a singular product or one area, but I think it's always good to diversify in some way. And when I was interviewing initially for Memphasys, I saw we had a suite of animal products as well, and there's many things that we can branch into even outside those areas, within the IVF field. And I think that we're constantly keeping our eyes open, and especially with myself in business development, I think the most important thing, David, is to look for unmet need, because if you can find an unmet need, and if you can find a solution, whether or not you develop it in-house or not, as long as you find a solution, you've got a product that's going to sell. And I think that that's the key to being successful, is filling that unmet need and that gap, and filling it in a way that is very effective, that no one else can compete with. And I think that what we've got so far kind of hits every one of those marks.
Hitting all the marks, excited head of business development, an expanded team, exciting times ahead for the company, and clearly we'll keep watching with interest. David, thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, David.